Hi everybody, welcome back. This video is a segment from the December Mount Baker Amateur Radio Club's digital group meeting. It was a Zoom meeting. It's one of four segments that I want to share with you. In this first one, we're going to talk about the FeePi sound card that we use on our Nexus DRX digital radio cross-patch kit and project. And the problem is that our project depends heavily on a third-party product called the FeePi, a sound card that has recently gone out of production and its producer has gone out of business. But we've come up with a very serendipitous solution to that problem. And in this video, we talk about how we're going to solve the problem, and we do an unboxing of sound cards that we've had manufactured for us in China. I hope you'll enjoy it. Stick around.
Well, I guess we're at 7 o'clock, so why don't we get started? Welcome to another pandemic edition of the digital group meeting. And I guess we're going to continue in this mode for some time. So I hope everybody is accustomed to it by now. And we've got three things to cover tonight, or Bud and between the two of us, Bud and I have three things to cover. And if anyone else has something they want to bring up, that you're more than welcome to do that as well. We're going to talk about the status of the FeePi audio board. Mm-hmm. I'm going to talk a little bit about the new Nexus image that was released and some of the gotchas that I and others have uncovered since I released that image. And then I'm also going to do a demonstration of PAT, which is a Linux WinLink client with forms using a beta version of the PAT software on a Raspberry Pi. So why don't we get started? Bud, why don't you go ahead and tell us about you and Chris tell us about the FeePi saga.
Okay. So as many of you know, we've been working for years now as a group and with a lot of input from the team here on the Mount Baker Amateur Radio Digital Club to come up with the Nexus board, which at one time we called the DigiLink. And along the way, we figured out that the best sound card to use was something that a guy named Henry was putting out called the FeePi. And so all of our Nexus boards and the software that Steve has worked so diligently on have revolved around the use of this FeePi sound card. And it used to be you'd go in to order a FeePi and he'd be out of stock, and we'd say to people, don't worry, try again in a day or two and it'll be back. And that was the case. And then all of a sudden he was out of stock and it wasn't coming back. And then we started to get 404 errors on trying to even get to his website. So Steve, who also lives in Arizona, Chris, who also lives in Arizona, was able to contact Henry. And Chris, why don't you tell us what you learned?
Right. I had been exchanging email with Henry over the last few years related to the FeePi and telling him what we were doing. And then suddenly my emails started being not answered because I was addressing him as the vendor of the FeePi. And it occurred to me, there's a lot of ham radio companies, products, producers, vendors out there. These are side hustles and retirement hustles, and they go away. So I wrote him an email that basically, instead of saying, what the hell's going on with your product, I addressed it on the basis that maybe he's got an issue and maybe we can help him. So I asked him that question specifically. Do you need help with the FeePi? And he came back to me and he basically explained, hey, I got a new job offer. The job offer is awesome. I'm going to take it, but it's going to be very demanding on my time. And so I've decided to stop doing the FeePi. However, I was thinking about doing it as releasing my files as a open source hardware project. And so my next question to him was, well, Can I request your files? And his next email had all the files. I forwarded them to Bud, and I found out who Henry's vendor was in China. And Bud has followed up that, and you're going to see the results of that in a few minutes. Just as a kind of a bizarre fantasy land thing that I did, when I got Henry's files, he told me that he'd been getting the boards for about $5 or $6. He says the best thing to do is order them 500 at a time. Well, I'm not going to do that, but just for the heck of it, I sent it down the road to a fab shop here down by the airport here in Phoenix. And they got back to me right away with a quote, $56 per board, per fee pie. And it was a $450 non-recoverable engineering fee up front. So that's just, for future reference. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Bud took the files, contacted Henry's vendor in China, and take it away, Bud.
Well, yeah, thanks, Chris, and thanks for getting those files. So this was quite the learning experience for me. I've spent a couple of years now working with a fab company in China called JLC PCB, and they produce, I've ordered hundreds of printed circuit boards from them, and I really like the work they do, and the price is very, very reasonable. And this other outfit called PCB Way does essentially the same thing. And both of them now are offering a service where they will assemble surface mount parts on the board for you. And that's what Henry was doing. And so the files that Henry sent Chris and then Chris sent on to me were all very interesting. They're the files that you would give to the fabrication company so that they could build the boards, but they are not the files that you would use to design the boards. So I have no way of bringing up his design and manipulating it. I can't change the silk screen. I can't change anything on the board, but presumably I should be able to send the files in and have them manufactured. And so I decided that the thing to do would be to stick with his company, PCB Way, and start this process. And I've never done that end of it before. Everything I've always done is just a bare printed circuit board, and I got that down. But this whole notion that they're going to find parts and put them on the board for me, and they're going to be the right parts in the right places in the right configuration was a little bit spooky. And so I'm looking at this, and I gave them the files, and they give me a quote back on it. But the best thing is they assigned a rep to me, a person named Ryan. And I'm communicating back and forth with Ryan, trying to send Ryan files, and he's correcting me and telling me, no, you need this or whatever. And so we have a dialogue that's going back and forth, usually an overnight thing because of the time zone difference in China. And it's kind of coming together. And it turns out that I could order 5 boards, or I could order 15 or 10 or 15 or 20 boards, and they're all going to cost about the same thing. So right up front, there was an $88 fee, whether it was 5 boards or 20 boards. And so I thought, okay, if I'm going to take a risk here, I might as well go for 20 boards because the price is nearly the same. I hadn't calculated in the fact that I have to pay for all the parts. So I have to purchase 4 times as many parts to do 20 boards as I would have to do 5 boards. But the parts really aren't that expensive. So in the end, I stuck with it. I stayed with the plan. I would order 20 boards, and I knew I was risking just a little under $150, and I could get these boards back, and it would be, they just wouldn't work. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. This is a learning process, and I'll figure out, what they're doing. So one of the final steps is that Ryan sent me some photos, and he says, okay, this is what your board is going to look like. You need to go over this board and make sure that we have things where they're supposed to be. And if you okay it, we'll build them. And so, not knowing, I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, this is Henry's board. I don't know. And so I looked for the obvious stuff. Like see this little white dot right here on the board matches up with this dent on, this is the codec chip. This is the blood and guts of the whole thing. And so I had to make sure that those things were right. And they looked like they were right. They also sent me a picture of the back of the board, which is not exciting. I was concerned that these jacks, audio jacks, only had one pin soldered, and these were not soldered. And I'm going like, what's going on there? What's that all about? And I thought, well, it doesn't matter, because we could easily solder those 4 pins on each of those if that's the way it's going to come. I was really, really concerned that they wanted to put a header on this board, which would have been a standard header. And we have to have a stacking header on this board. So the standard header goes up on the Nexus board. And so I told him, make sure you don't put the header on the board. And he emailed me back and said, you've got a bill of materials list with all the parts listed, and all you have to do is write on the part, on the sheet next to that part, DNP, do not place. And so I did. And then they tell me it'd be like 20 days before I would see them. And so they got them done, and DHL sent me an email saying that the boards would be coming this Friday. Now, my experience with DHL is that they always get here way sooner than what they tell me that they're going to say, that they're going to do. And sure enough, I'm tracking DHL, and I see that the boards have left Seattle this morning. And then I sent an email out to Chris and a couple others saying, I think we're going to get the boards today. And then I got a text message saying, yep, they're going to be delivered today. And so Galen and I were on Zoom today working on a project together. And I had my video camera, my Arden video camera, out on the street. And whoa, the DHL van drove by, but didn't stop. And I got all excited. I said, they are going to come. They're going to come. And then a little bit later, it drives by a second time, but didn't stop. And finally, it drove in and stopped. And a gal comes out. I went to the door, and she gives me a box. And so we did a little unboxing video today. It's about a 4-minute video that I'll share with you here of me unboxing this. We did it on Zoom, and it's kind of funny because I'm trying to show you us unboxing, but every time one of the other guys talks, the camera switches over to them. And so we get through it, and not knowing what we're going to see or what we're going to get, we started to unbox this video. So unbox this thing. Let me see if I can find the right button. Yeah. And I think you'll have audio. I think I got it set up today. While can you hear it okay? Do I need to do anything? I'm seeing heads nod, so I'll go on.
It's audible, but it could be a little louder.
Okay, let me see what I can do. Audio. We'll just crank it up a bit. The DHL truck I saw on my camera drove by twice. And I try not to get this piece of paper out of here without cutting it in half. CB Ways. Never ordered from them before. Now let's see what we got here. Oh, they really package stuff up. No tariff, you guys.
Nice.
Must be a threshold that we're under.
Right. Excellent.
But you know, still, this is 20 PCBs. That would last us a long time. I'm looking at my screen and seeing Chris. Okay. They sent me a Christmas tree. And I have a battery that'll go in there. So this is, oh, it's an LED Christmas tree.
That's pretty neat.
There's no light on it for you guys.
Right.
Free gift. And, oh, I see. You can hang it on your tree and it's going to blink. All right. What's inside? Lots of stuff. Lots of it.
Are they individually wrapped?
Yeah.
Maybe they sent you 200.
Unrolling it. Look at, there's 5. Oh my. I kind of, shall I bring the camera down? Background underneath here. I'm not going to unsnap that thing. I'm cutting it. We got them. It looks right. It's a green board instead of a blue board, and they did not have the colored jacks available, and I didn't install this jack here. Now, I thought maybe they were going to give me headers because they were on the bill of materials. You look in the box and see if there's anything in here that looks different. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. They gave us a board with nothing on it. An extra one. So that's pretty cool to get that extra board so we can see some of the things that are underneath the chips and stuff like that. So as soon as I did that, I got the soldering iron going and I put a 40-pin header on it, and I took the Nexus board that I have on the air that is running all the time. It's running Direwolf on my right radio, and it's running FSQ on my left radio. And I shut it down. I pulled it apart. I took the green board, put it on, put the whole thing back together, fired it up. And before FL Digi was even up and running, I started to notice, because Direwolf comes up first, I started to notice that that it was printing packets, that I was copying APRS data right off the bat. We got it on the air. I tested it. I did not make a single change to any settings whatsoever. It just worked. I'm running it right now. The green board works exactly the same as Henry's blue board. So we've got 20 of these things now. We can start providing the FeePi board for people who want to build the Nexus DRX. We'll bundle them together. So that's a great load off our mind, because we thought we were going to be dead in the water. And I really want to thank Chris for getting us those files. That's fabulous. And of course, Steve's done a phenomenal job on the image, and we'll hear more about some of the stuff that he's been doing it. But we have lots of PPI boards, and we can get more. We know how to do it. Thanks.
Bud, was a question for you. Were those TRS jacks soldered?
Yes. Yeah.
They were. Okay.
The ones that the four pins that weren't soldered in the photograph were soldered on the boards.
Okay.
Okay, good.
And what's the price difference between the old PPI and this one?
Well, so Henry was ordering these things at $500 at a time, so he was getting a pretty good price for them. Ours are coming in at quite a, he was getting them for like $5 a piece, and ours are quite a bit more than that, but they're still a little bit cheaper than what we would have paid if we ordered them directly from Henry. So I think we'll be able to price them about the same price, or maybe even a little bit less than what Henry did. So we've got to, well, I have to think that through, because we have to now come up with 2 sets of headers. I've got to come up with both the stacking header and the standard header. So that adds a couple bucks, $2 or $3 to the project. So, but we're still in good shape. I think in the end it'll be actually cheaper than the FeePi really was originally, but we may aim for that price just for practical reasons. So, one of the things about this stuff that we do, and I can appreciate why Henry made the choice that he made. And if you think about what I'm doing, what Steve's doing, what Basil is doing over at Northwest Digital, we could make a lot more money if we just went to McDonald's and flipped hamburgers.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
But we have the luxury of not caring about our time. So all I really care about is, can I keep the products, keep the materials on the shelves so that we can send the kit out to people who want them. And it doesn't matter how long, how much time I spend doing it. My wife kind of rolls her eye about it, but I'm having fun. And his purpose isn't to put food on anybody's table. So yeah, I mean, I'm making a lot less than a 19-year-old kid flipping hamburgers, but I'm having a good time.
I'll second that, Bud.
You guys both need a raise, at least a promotion, if not a raise.
Okay. Well, so to go along with was that all, Bud? Do you have anything else to add?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.